We are back. We're back here, and I'd like to believe, as a group, we are preparing ourselves for the most important function in our life, which is having a relationship with everybody Hashem puts in our life through our relationship with Hashem. That's how it works. We're all here to strengthen ourselves in this area, because that is what it takes to bring Hashem. Relationship is what it takes to bring Hashem into our everyday lives, into more of our consciousness, not in a more minute-to-minute way. In other words, we're always in circumstances, and the circumstances are custom tailored, each one for us to deal with through our relationship with Hashem. Okay, so now we're in our circumstances. There are a lot of things that feel oppositional. Feels like there's resistance, and we would like, ideally, to just naturally flow towards each other. But if we talk about nature, if anything, is going to keep each person separate. In nature, and we look at the world strictly from a disconnected vantage point. In other words, when we relate to this way to another person and the circumstances, if we're disconnected from Hashem, it's going to be one way of relating. And if we're connected to Hashem, is going to be another way. Now, what Hashem wants above all else is for us to stay connected with each other under the most difficult situation. Now, I'm not talking about connecting to Rishaim. And unfortunately, in today's world, Jews who are against Jews today, in this set of circumstances, I think we have to distance ourselves. We have to distance ourselves. We have to pray for them, but create distance. We have to, because it's just not normal we have here. So, but I'm not going to call them anything more than they're Jews for which we have to create a distance. But the rest are there for us to create relationship with Hashem. Social life is not just a horizontal. It is a horizontal that's based on the vertical relationship. That's in every situation. Now, why? Why do I have to connect with with our fellow Jews? And be careful not to hurt them, not to embarrass them, not to insult them, not to belittle them, right? To make them feel safe, important, and redeemable. Why do I have to do that? It's a big job. It's a big task. But it is the most available task to connect the idea of loving Hashem and connecting to Hashem. When we see that Hashem sent this to us, and whatever we thought we would have wanted in this situation was not good for us. Why wasn't it good? Because we need the challenge, so to speak, of overcoming intellect and emotions and going to Hashem and connecting to Hashem. Hashem, I know this is from you, and I know that there is a relationship I'm supposed to have with the person you've sent in front of me. Now, why is that? Why do we have to have a relationship with these people? These people are not just these people, these are fellow Jews. Why do I have to? Because we belong to each other. It's like if my hand hurts, or if my knee hurts, you can't ignore it. It's part of you. It's an absolute have to. We have to pay attention to fellow Jews because they're part of us. They're here, and what is the aching knee supposed to tell me? The same thing that a person that I meet and a fellow Jew who's a thorn in my side is telling me. There's something here. It's identical. We belong to each other. And because of that, I have obligations. Now, I'm obliged to not ignore an aching knee or any other physical ailment because it's part of me and it's part of my ability to function emotionally well, physically well, and spiritually well. In other words, when the knee comes into place or any other thing, spiritually well means I have to daven. I have to turn to Hashem. This is from you, Hashem, and I need, thank you. You know what the first thing is? Thank you, Hashem, for all you, she's smiling. You know what I'm going to say. Thank you, Hashem, for all the years my knee didn't bother me.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, what were you going to say?
That this is an opportunity to connect. Thank you for this opportunity to connect.
Well, that's the connection. Thanking Hashem for all the years that the knee worked without pain. That's the connection. Of course, it's the opportunity to connect, but how am I going to connect? Not just say, oh, I need a good orthopedic, or I need Hashem, please, Hashem, send me. That we can ask for. But first we thank. It's a Baruch Hashem, not that my knee really hurts, but that it's a reminder for all the years that my knee did not hurt or anything else that's ailing me. Eyesight, all of a sudden we have to wear glasses. Thank you, Hashem, for all the years I didn't have to wear glasses, right? And now I should be able to get glasses and with your help, Hashem, only look with the glasses, look for the good. Do you hear that? When you put your glasses on, these are called look for the good glasses. Not, right? It's different. Looking for the good is different than see the good. What is the difference? Looking for the good is an active participation, and it's really a partnership with Hashem because that's what Hashem wants from us. All right? So we have
looking is an action.
Looking is an individual activity in and of itself. Seeing is more passive. It's like it has to be more visually available. But I'm not waiting for something that's visually available. I'm going deeper. I'm looking. I'm searching, and I have an obligation to do that. Ayin Tova is a Torah obligation. It's not easy, and that's why we have to have a partnership with the Kadosh Baruch Hu in order to accomplish it. Again, why do I have to have an Ayin Tova? Why do I have to relate? Because we belong together. There is the Hebrew. This is how Hashem built Am Yisrael.
I have a question. I think it ties in. What I've gotten from you in this year is that, when something is clearly a no, then it's Hashem saying no to you. And then there's situations where it's very clear that, something is min Hashemayim, and that Hashem says yes to you. But I find myself saying out loud, Hashem said no, when it's in the negative and clear. And then when Hashem says yes, I don't say Hashem says yes, I say thank you, Hashem.
That's great.
But it's not saying Hashem said yes.
It doesn't matter. The truth is that thank you, Hashem, is really even when, what are we thanking Hashem for when Hashem says no? What we're thanking Hashem is for his involvement in our lives. And you have to then think that if something is not going well, you have to start thinking. You have to look over your actions, your activities, your relationship with Hashem, your relationship with the people. You have to review.
You can't leave it at just Hashem said no.
You could leave it.
Like I just feel like Hashem was communicating that I wasn't meant to get to that thing on time.
Right, okay.
If I was meant to get to that thing in time, I would. Hashem has power to do everything.
Right,
So
right,
if I was meant to, I would. Hashem's obviously saying no to me.
right. So no, I learned this from Rabbi Berkowitz, Yitzhak Berkowitz, the Rosh Hashiva of Eshet Torah, yeah? And when things are no, you have to be able to say to yourself, Hashem, you know what's good for me. And this no is what's good for me. Right? We have to, and I have to help me. And you can even say to Hashem, help me see. Help me see.
I mean, I usually can see that.
Right. Why? Help me. You can ask Hashem, help me see
Why I needed this no.
why that no is for my benefit, why I needed this no, what, right? Help me see. And that's a good thing to do because Hashem doesn't just, nothing is bamikra, nothing is random and accidental. It is all intentional by Hashem. It's Hashem's plan.
But is it okay to say thank you, Hashem, instead of saying Hashem said yes? Is saying thank you like saying Hashem said yes?
Yeah, well, of course. But you know, the idea is, the principle is I love you, Hashem, and I know you love me. And when you put that love into practice, we have to, you can do it independently. Matter of fact, if you read the Sefer, the Simcha of Marriage, that's the first exercise in the Simcha of Marriage, is to have a relationship with Hashem in a loving way. And so if anybody's looked at the Sefer, we have here, let me just read it to you because it's Kedai. It's very Kedai. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Just want to get the first step because it's a good one. Colossians chapter 1. Why am I not seeing it? Hashem bring it back to me. Essay 1. Maybe it's essay 2. Yeah, it's essay 2. It's essay 2. And it's good to. It's essay 2. No, that's not it either. Oh gosh. Hashem bring it in. All right, it's in the event. Yes, here it is on page 29. All right. It's part of V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. We have opportunities to demonstrate our love to Hashem. And here, when even there's a no, we can demonstrate our love to Hashem and say, I know you love me. It's like, I love you, Hashem, and thank you for loving me. Right? This is a game changer. And this is what we're learning about. We're learning how to interpret our life, circumstances. Circumstances. Everybody's born into circumstances. Circumstances are every day of our life. The weather, the who comes, everything. The fact that we're reminding ourselves that we have to pray to Hashem because we got the airplanes going above us. Pray to Hashem that evil will be destroyed. We rely on Hashem because only Hashem can really destroy evil. We have to do our ishtadlus, which is pray and physical army. We do. There's nothing. We have a history of having a physical army, and this is a war to protect Hashem, to bring Hashem into the world, especially into Am Yisrael, back into our consciousness. Okay, so I love you, Hashem, and thank you for loving me is very appropriate when everything turns out as being a no answer or not to our liking. You have to know that this is not coming from anything other than this is. I don't see it, but there is good for me here in this. Okay. All right. So now we have here. So what is why? So if all of Am Yisrael belong together, we belong together. then if I'm not in a belonging together relationship with my fellow Jew, right? That, in other words, circumstances put me into a relationship with my fellow Jew, and I'm not in that type of connection, then there is an element of arrogance. Like, I don't need you. All right? And that's the opposite of we belong to each other. That's the opposite understanding of the circumstances, right? We are part, now we are part of each other. Now this is fundamental to being a Jew, is feeling we are part of each other. So if circumstances create situations where it is not easy, our goal to stay, to be in a close relationship, our goal is to relate to it in a humble way. Hashem, I need your help. If certain people have to be in your life, I need your help. Now, certainly in a marriage relationship. All right? So the spiritual accomplishment of a marriage relationship is unity. And a husband is going to, and a wife are going to challenge that, because the natural tendency is separateness. In other words, we see things different, we're thinking things different, everything is different. All right? And if you don't know how to create unity, you have to go down to a level of spiritual. Our spiritual essence is unity with our husbands. And we have to recognize that that's work. And that's work that we can only accomplish through a relationship with Hashem. And it's an act, and when we do this, it develops in myself the understanding that Hashem creates us, everybody, as Chaseir. Chaseir means there is a piece of me that needs to be developed through connecting to you. All right? We meet a non-practicing Jew, and we have to have dealings with them. And we're hopefully coming out of this, or even during this war, but certainly coming out of it, I hope that the walls of separation will be, we will have an inspired alternative to walls of separation, because everybody needs everybody. What would I need somebody for? As again, how can I think of this person? We belong to each other. They're part of me. I have to pay attention. I cannot ignore this person. I have to pay attention. I have to develop, in a partnership with Hashem, an attitude, a way of relating. All right? And when I do that, that's when I become healed. Shalem. The Chaseir is meant, the Chaseir in our lives. In other words, so let me just go back to, I think I might have told you, somebody who is not keeping Shabbos yet, okay? And why do I need them? What do I need from them? And they might be doing a lot of other things. Maybe they have a very gentle and kind way about themselves, but they say it's a free will choice. I'm choosing, this is too hard for me. I don't need this much I don't need this much regimen in my life. Okay, but why do I need this person? Why do I have to relate to this person? Because this person has never really known what a relationship with Hashem can be, not what it is, what it can be for them. It's a privilege to do mitzvahs. It's a privilege to have a real relationship with Hashem. You feel Hashem's presence in your life. We're learning in this way how to relate to people, how to feel Hashem's presence in our lives, and the hashgacha pratis, the incredible involvement. That's what the whole Yetzias Mitzrayim is about. Yetzias Mitzrayim, we're supposed to remind ourselves every day, is about reminding ourselves that Hashem's involvement in our life, in our daily life. Now, how do I know Hashem wants us to feel that we are Chaseir, and to rely on Chaseir means that on our own, we are not complete. Never mind the self-made man. Never mind the self-made woman. Never mind being independent. These are all not non-Torah ideas. What Hashem wants is, especially in marriage, Hashem wants us to have the partnership is always with Hashem. Always. And then, when I have that partnership with Hashem, I will know how to relate to the person in front of me. Then I have that as Makor Shlemuto. In other words, you know what we talk about fulfillment in life? This is fulfillment in life. There's nothing else. This is fulfillment. Knowing Hashem loves me, knowing that I can love Hashem in this way by demonstrating my connection to Hashem through how I connect to my fellow Jew, internalizing that we need each other, certainly us and our husbands, but I take it further because we're preparing ourselves. We have to see it in the broader picture. Okay, and all this, the overarching heading here is kavod. In other words, kavod is a relationship that indicates that we belong to each other. And now I need my relationship with Hashem. I belong with Hashem, and I belong with my fellow Jews. This is what nothing is extra, nothing is by accident. We belong together. All right, so what is the essence of kavod and of obligating me to connect Hashem into every set of circumstances? That's the mitzvah of the moment, the mom. What is the essence of kavod? Is belonging to each other. You're not going, my knee, my heart, my brain, every part of my body belongs to each other and is necessary. And to keep it going, we need a connection to Hashem. Hashem, thank you, first of all, for a functioning heart, liver, kidneys, circulatory system, the heart, right? And the idea is, how do I show myself as belonging to the people in my life? Now, some people cannot have such a close connection, and some people we have to keep a certain amount of distance because the closeness cannot happen, but we daven. We don't just disconnect. We're not dismissive of anybody. Okay, that's kavod. That is showing the other person that I feel obligated to you. I'm obligated to recognize it would be sinful if a person has a certain physical ailment and it's a chet. Our bodies are not just what do they say, my body, myself? No, our bodies belong to Hashem. It is given to us, and we have to take care of it. We have to respect it because it belongs to our whole essential relationship with Hashem. The people and circumstances in my life belong to my relationship with Hashem. That's covered. Bringing Hashem in, and by showing the other person, interacting with the other person in such a way that it demonstrates we belong together. Okay, so now it says, Zos hatfisa haba. This is the fundamental, you could say, spiritual thesis of marriage. We belong together. All right? It's not about we're together because we're going to help each other and we're going to have success. We're going to have more success because two are better than one, two heads are better than one, or any type of success that we might equate that applies to the non-Jewish world as well, right? Any practical benefits that we think we might gain by getting married, that's part of it, but that's not the essence. The basis of getting married is recognizing that with this person, we belong together and we are one neshama. And we are a divine creation, a zivug Eloki. All right? And in a zivug, in a relationship, in a marriage relationship, we're gonna grow in this relationship through our relationship with Hashem. And so what is the fundamental way of approaching our marriage and any relationship, but especially our marriage? I'm Chaseir. I am Chaseir, and I belong, and I need this relationship with you to fill the Chaseir. Okay? So this is I'm Chaseir. And of course, you've heard it, that we're like plug gufa in Aramaic. It's like half a body, half an existence. Until we get married, we're half an existence. Why? Because we're not in the environment of being a full neshama. I'm a full neshama with my husband. That's a divine creation. It's a zivug Eloki. That's what you have to pay attention to. My marriage, it's not I picked him, I'm going to unpick him. No. It's a zivug Eloki. It's a brit nisuim. Brit, as the word is bria. Okay, so we belong together. Now, if that the belonging together is now it's different levels, of course. In a marriage, we are intimately belonging together. And the number of circumstances that we are interacting with our husband is continuous. With the people in the outside world, it's what you call spot cleaning. You have an interaction, and hopefully you can bring Hashem in and resolve or connect to Hashem through the interaction and see Hashem's involvement. We want Hashem to be involved in the interaction. Okay? So we have here, it says here like this. So we have to view my shlemus. Now, when we have the word shlemus, the root word of shlemus is shalom, and shalom is one of Hashem's names. Shlemus is bringing Hashem shalom. That's fulfillment in any set of circumstances. That is the fundamental relationship that is so important. All right? So in marriage, we have to understand what's fundamental in marriage is our dependency, our interdependency relationship. We are interdependent. Everybody is missing and needs the other to help fill the missing. And what happens is, where's the ouch in all this? The ouch in this can be when we or our spouse tells us what's missing in us, right? And that feels like judgment.
Also, some people don't want us to connect. They don't want to belong to us.
For instance,
they don't want to have a conversation with you. You want to belong to them. You are seeking connection to bring Hashem into the picture, to have a relationship.
You're right.
The person wants to be nowhere near you.
Okay, so that's the set of circumstances, and it's Hashem's way of telling us that this is what's good for me.
Right.
This is what's good for me. Yes.
Right, Reverend. The ouch, you said, is when we or our spouse try to.
The ouch is when we feel criticized for. The ouch is for going both ways. When we point to the other person what's missing in them, or when the other person points to us what's missing in us. Okay, we have an opportunity to wake up. Yep, the assumption is I'm Chaseir, and Hashem makes everybody Chaseir because we're not to be arrogant. If we weren't Chaseir, my goodness, the arrogance would be impossible to rein in, right? So the Chaseir, we know this from the after bracha on when you drink water or have a candy or have something, a shehakol. The after bracha is what? First of all, you say on the front, shehakol niyeh b'dvaro, which is a philosophical truth. And on the after bracha, we say, borei nefashos rabos v'chesronan. You create the chaser. I didn't have to be thirsty, but you decided that I'm going to have to replenish myself, grow. And don't give a plant water, they're not going to grow. All right, so these are the elements for my growth. The chaser is what creates the connection. All right, with Hashem and my fellow Jew, and above all else, my husband. So ideally going into a marriage, each partner should feel their chaser and know that they're going to grow. They're not going to go through life. They're going to grow through life in how that they feel the chaser, how they bring Hashem in, and how they connect to the other. Okay? And in that sense, we are dependent on each other. Now, I like to think of the chaser. How do we feel the chaser in our lives? Because it's a given, right? I say fill it with emunah. Fill it with emunah. Believe that this chaser is exactly where I bring Hashem in. And as I bring Hashem in, and Hashem wants me to be aware of Hashem's involvement in my personal life. The chaser is personal. Everyone has their own chaser. And this is the opportunity to bring Hashem into my life, because Hashem created that chaser. I can do X, Y, and Z, but I can't do A, B, and C. And if I need A, B, and C, I need to find people who can help. And we need each other. We need each other. That's the key. I'm chaser, and we need each other. All right, and we're dependent on each other. What for? To bring Hashem down. Right? I'm dependent on the person who cut in front of me in the supermarket. How do I bring Hashem down? It's not for me to say, to point out, that's the ouch. But that when you point it out and make it, when pointing out for me, that's somebody else points out to me, thank them. But for me to point out to somebody else, and it was somebody else in a very crude way, might point out something that is very disconcerting. You know, it's painful. They did it in a very painful way. But somebody who understands that I don't have to get it always in a gift wrap package. I can get a message sometimes in an elegant package. Okay, but I myself want, my goal is to give out the messages in a gift wrapped package through my relationship with Hashem. Bring Hashem in. All right, and remember, this is not optional. This is compulsory. All right, but tzarich lo lechach kasher hanisum nitpas be'achrech. All right, so no, that's in chayot. Okay, so we have to see that for our the circumstances, the people in our life are there to keep on pushing us along in our life, in our growth, in our development, and what is growth and development? Bringing Hashem into the circumstances, seeing things through the prism or the glasses of kavod. I have obligations. I'm part of Am Yisrael, and there's a mitzvah called V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and what precedes this mitzvah is what? The mitzvah of giving kavod. Our obligation to give kavod. We have an obligation, and we have very few models for this in our life. So we have to. So Hashem is being very patient with us. Who said, is that you, Ita? Oh, okay, Flora. Okay, we have very few models for this. And that is, so Hashem is patient. And here, we're in this incredible set of circumstances, this war. And the war really is not, the fact that it's a genocidal war towards the Jews, right, is really a war against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is clearly, it's coming from a Godless, a world. Anybody who can sit and make the victim into the perpetrator, right? You know where we're coming, where it's coming from. And it's a fight against Hashem. And they can't win. Okay. I'm sorry. Kritat habrit. Okay, so this is what it means to be in a marital relationship. All right. And what is the breach of marriage and the breach between HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ke'ilu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael, not Ke'ilu. There is a breach between Hashem and Am Yisrael, and there's a breach between a husband and a wife that is called a zivug Eloki. It is a divine creation. Actually, no different than a glass of water. Two molecules of hydrogen and a molecule of oxygen. They're two gases, and they come together by the word of Hashem, and they create a new creation called water. That's what marriage is. It is a creation. It is divine creation. And the idea here is to recognize myself as being chetzi, half of the creation. Until I'm married, I'm in an existence of half a creation. In terms of a husband, not in terms of my relationship with Hashem. Because Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu are also a creation, a breach, a bria. Remember, the root word of breach is bria. There are only two eternal, permanent relationships. Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and as long as we're married, us and our husbands. It's a zivuk eloki. It's also part of our eternal relationship with Hashem. Marriage is part of our eternal relationship with Hashem. Is every marriage truly viable? Not if there's any type of threats. If it's a threatening relationship, a unsafe, threatening relationship, no, there's an inyan of pikuach nefesh. But why Hashem put two people like that together? Still, Hashem is in it, and we have to be able to recognize there's something missing that I need to, there's something missing in my relationship with Hashem and my relationship with myself. I have to grow. I'm Chaseir. And I have to grow through this. Sometimes in life, we have to go backwards in order to go forwards. But when you go backwards, it's not a negative. Think of a bow and arrow. When you pull the string back, the arrow goes further. The pulling, the things that are not going our way, ultimately, are to bring us to a further place in our life. Is everybody with me on that? That's it. Okay, so it's an image that you can have to be able to say, everything went, this is everything's terrible. No, it's a set of circumstances. There's an opportunity in every situation to sort of objectify a little bit and say, this is the circumstances. And now spiritualize it by recognizing it's coming from Hashem. All right, how we frame everything is critical. Okay, so what I was saying is that when we have a breach, it's like taking, here, I'm gonna read it. Kritat habris, the word to create a breach, a new bria, the verb is called krita. Kritat habris. Now, what does krita mean? It means lichtoch, to cut. Well, what does that mean? How does cut have to do with breach? Okay, it's the awareness that until I get into this breach, into this covenant, I'm half. A Jew, until he has a bris milah, he is not capable of connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the way that Hashem had in mind. All right, we are in a covenantal relationship with Hashem. This brit means we belong to each other, like the hydrogen and the oxygen that create the water. They belong together out of Hashem's imagination. We have to see ourselves as cut. Kritat brit means we are cut, we are half, and then we see our completion, right? With the other element, in other words, that I'm connecting to. That is the only other two others in marriage is Hashem. It's my marriage with Hashem and my husband. That's shleimus. And if you don't have Hashem in the picture, you're going to have your intellect overriding, your emotions overriding, and we're not going to get to the purpose of this marriage.
And your chaser is spotlighted.
Is
spotlighted,
right?
So you're not interacting with them.
You're not interacting with the other person, and you both end up being chaser, as opposed to
in a slump.
In a slump, right? You can't move on, and then the marriages you feel like you're stuck and nothing. But believe me, how many marriages where people think that they're so sure, I just have this now with this particular person, And she was so sure that the problem, the chaser, was all in her husband, right? And I made it clear that that's when you're already at that point, we know that we're not seeing things complete, right? So but you have to have somebody who can help us to see our own chaser. And it doesn't have to be only our husbands. That's an ouch sometimes, if not always. We have to go to shiurim and learn what is expected of us and know that everybody needs Hashem to navigate through relationships so that we can make our connection to Hashem dictate our intellect and our emotions, and not, because if we just let our emotions and intellect dictate, Hashem's not going to be anywhere in the picture.
And that's the arrogance.
And that's arrogance.
I can do this on my own.
I can do this on my own, right? All right. Now, let me point out to you where that can happen very simply. A very, very simple example. Okay, so we want our husbands to, let's say there's a sink full of dishes, and the husband says, and the husband, who doesn't do such a spotless job when he washes the dishes anyway, but he says he'll do it, and he doesn't do it, and we get excited, and we get angry, and we get upset. Oh, who needs you? I'll do it myself, right? And we have to reinterpret this as, there's a chaser here. How can I draw my husband closer to me, and at the same time let him hear what is of concern to me? So there are a couple of ways. Language and tone are very important. So if we're already waiting and waiting and waiting, and we're thinking we're being so saintly because we're being so patient, waiting for him to wash those dishes. And really what we're doing is we're putting out the measuring stick. We're measuring, he didn't do it yet, he's not following my time schedule, right? It's very, very easy. And ultimately, in the end, we just blow up and we say, get out of here, I'll do it myself. I mean, I don't know, is this a possible scenario people could identify with? It doesn't have to be the dishes. It could be fixing the toilet. It could be anything that is needs, and we thought that our husbands were going to do it. All right. So Hashem is sending this to me because there's something here I have to do to draw my husband closer to me, to be able to give over the message, and that it requires a relationship with Hashem. I can't do it on my own.
What would you say?
Okay, I think there are a couple, there's a couple. Right. Okay, so there are a couple of things. First of all, there is nothing wrong, just being a supervisor, to give a kind reminder. Like if you do the dishes, it means so much to me, right? Or it means so much to me to be able to rest a little bit if you could do the dishes. If he doesn't do the dishes, and you say, you must be in a, just like the person who cut in front of you, you must be very preoccupied.
And if they miss the spot or don't do it well. Right.
Now, I'm going to give you an eitzah about missing a spot and not doing it well, okay? I have a student who called me, this is mamash this last week, and she's married probably 30 years. And she said for 30 years, she's been bridging inside because her husband doesn't wash the dishes properly. Either he doesn't rinse it properly, or he doesn't do the scrubbing properly, and it always rigid her. And what did she finally come up with? She called me because she said, you can use this example because it's so, she came up with, we're going to do this as a partnership. He's good at rinsing and she's good at scrubbing. And she said it's the most delightful result Okay, now he doesn't feel anymore like he feels the energy. If she's always looking at the dishes and they're not clean the way he wants it, he always felt it. Now they have a partnership. Now, it was a divine inspiration. She's so happy. She's so happy. 30, she said to me, 30 years she's carried this. And she had to call me. She called me on Friday, this past Friday morning. She had to tell me how now this is like a divine inspiration to think, how can we get a breakthrough here? And you know what line is very, very helpful here? She said to him, help me figure out how we can help each other. This is not his do the dishes and I'm here judging how he's doing the dishes. It's how can we help each other? It's the same thing with a husband who tends to forget to come home, even though he's called up and said, I'll be home in 15 minutes. And 2 hours later, he's not home. And then we're drumming our fingers and heating up the food once, twice, 5 times. And then we get disgusted. How can we help each other? If he has something chaseir, guess what? It's my test.
But what if he doesn't want to come home? He doesn't agree that there's something in each other there.
If he
he doesn't agree that he should come. He doesn't have to come home. Why does he? How does a husband? Why does he feel that he needs to do that? Not everyone feels that he needs to do that.
Well, this husband called the wife up and said, I'll be home in 15 minutes, and didn't call her back up to tell her that he got detoured.
Yeah, but often they don't think that that's a problem. And that's where all the resentment comes in. And then you explode. Right,
exactly. So we have to become remember, it's my test, and look for ways to be partners to help each other in this. That's what Hashem is wanting in this picture. How can I help? It's not, we don't, if we try to normalize a little bit of the situation. He's not the only person who doesn't do dishes well or doesn't.
That's the judgmental tool.
Right, that's right. Right, normalizing takes the judgment out, but still says it's my test and we need to help each other. What is the test in this situation? To help each other, to make each other feel safe, important, and redeemable. So that's my test. So if the other person says, what's the big deal? So you can say, you're right, that's one way of looking at it, right?
We're making room for another way to see it.
Right. There's always another way of looking at things, right? So you're right, I agree, this is one way of looking at things. I want to share with you another, the other side.
It would mean a lot to me.
It would mean a lot to me if you could discuss, and I can share with you another way. It would mean a lot to me if I can discuss and share with you another way of looking at things. Okay? That's the test. That's the test. And we have, and we're up. If this is not like I'm teaching you the frosting on the cake. This is the cake. This is the essential to the relationship. And it comes to show that if I see it's my test, I'm going to grow with this. That's why Hashem is sending us tests to grow. Okay? And this is what it is. When we see this connection, like nothing is accidental. Every set of circumstances it's the source, these circumstances, and the way we deal with them is the source of my fulfillment in life. I will be fulfilled because what's the Hebrew word for fulfillment? Shlemut. And what's the root word of shlemut? Shalom. And what is shalom? It's Hashem in the picture. There is no shalom if Hashem is not in the picture. Oh, says shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. If Hashem is in the picture, there'll be shalom. If Hashem's not in the picture, it is impossible. We're in the world, we're in an impossible world. who they said, I mean, it's not just for Yiddish, for Jews. I'm told, I'd have to read up on, you can check up on me, but I'm told that the churches are empty. That even
People aren't searching.
people aren't searching. People are out for a good time. They want to have a good time. They want to, you know what the idea is in England? Get all the family into the parents' bedroom. This little kid, I'm not, and into the bed, have a late brunch in the bed on Sunday, and then go and do at 11 o'clock, everything, all the stores open up in England, and from 11 to 6, go shopping. Does that, I mean, can I can imagine that. They think they're being family, they think they're being connected, they're gonna have brunch together in the parents' bedroom. I don't know what, I mean, I can imagine this. I can really imagine as being part of family get-togetherness. Where's Hashem in the picture? Nowhere to be found. So the world, the way it is, to be GODLESS is very easy. Just do what comes naturally. Just decide, I'm free. I can pick and choose whatever I want to do. And that's exactly why the world is at war. I mean, to say that the victim is the perpetrator, this is exactly what was the mentality during World War II. The Jews brought it upon themselves. Where? Well, we did in the sense of our relationship to Hashem, but not in terms of our relationship to the outside world. Hashem is bringing us closer to the Geula. And you have to know that during World War II, if you look at a Sfarim, I mean, look, we don't want these type of things. And with my own parents, I grew up in a home with this type of the lack of safety.
Or distrust.
Distrust, yes. You can trust the world. And here we are again. You can't trust. So what is going to get us through everything? This connection, this attachment to Hashem, and knowing we're attached to Hashem because we're in a brit, and when we detach, what happens? We're in a free fall. When we attach to Hashem, and attach to the people in our lives, especially our husbands, because that is clearly, that's a zivug eloki, that is our attachment to Hashem. That's our place, we're not of growth. That's where the chaseir is, we're going to help each other from the point of chaseir. And all the places that we naturally have natural talents to partner and build, that's, of course, that's wonderful. But there's the chaseir is there for a reason. And it's there to bring us to a place of humility, because we can't fill this chaseir without our relationship with Hashem. And now, it says, so this is the source of fulfillment in life. What covered? In other words, this belief that we belong together, this belief that there's no obligation to turn to Hashem to stay connected, right? And this is giving this, and this demonstrating this belonging together is a relationship of kavod, right? We're not going to, if my knee hurts, I'm not going to slap it or keep on abusing it, right? I'm going to look for the ways to be kind and gentle and ask Hashem that whatever the repair is, it should be quick and easy, and it should be not distressing. So what is the point when I look at my husband? I have to see this husband is the source of my fulfillment in life. meeting the tests of relationship. Relationship are tests that bring us to the tester, Hashem, and create an opportunity for us to help each other. I'm Chaseir, the other person's Chaseir. Now, the fact that I'm never late and this other person is always whatever, or vice versa, that's not a basis of Chaseir. This is a basis of helping each other. It's my test. Somebody else has a difficult, how am I going to relate? How am I going to raise the other person in a way that will make them feel redeemable, safe, and important? So the student of mine, after 30 years, figured out her husband was a fabulous rinser. And I have to call her back and ask her exactly how they position themselves in the sink, in the kitchen. But that's how she does it now. They're partners. And when you're partners, it's no seba ol chavero, it becomes light. It's a much lighter, activity.
Can it also be that, in that example, that you're supposed to understand his aren't perfect, and that if they're a little bit dirty, it's still a partnership?
Yes, it's a partnership, and part of it could be, yeah.
I mean, that would.
But she had resentment. She had resentment, and she couldn't let it go until Hashem brought to her the idea of a partnership. When something's difficult for one person, or it's not going the way you want, you go in and see. It's like the kid whose room is a mess, and whatever, and you would like, and you say, "Come on, let's help up." Sometimes you tell a kid, "Go clean up your room." Not every kid has really the skill.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So you come in. You don't say, "Well, look at it gets to this place." No, you come in kind and gentle. You say, "Come," and you give them an idea. Let's first get everything off the floor, okay? Or let's just pick out the dirty clothes. Here's the hamper. Give them a direction.
So if you're going to handle it on your own, that's not a partnership. If you're just going to let something go,
exactly.
If you're doing it on your own.
If you say, "I'm going to do this on my own," then it's not a partnership.
It's okay that it's dirty. I have to deal with it.
Right. That's not a partnership. That is brilliant, and that's exactly what we're getting to. We have to recognize this is all a partnership, and it's and a partnership with Hashem.
Right, in another way of looking at it.
And look at it from a different way. Okay, so then one last line, and then we're going to everybody raise a kesher. And this, when we do it this way, right? On this basis of kavod, belonging to each other, helping each other, being chaser, and recognizing that we will help each other in this area, right? This creates a permanent, right? A permanent steady. This is the steady basis for the relationship. More than love. More than love. It brings to love. But you don't start a relationship with love. You start the relationship with kavod. We belong together. Certain assumptions that I had before are not correct. Oh, I made a mistake. I picked him. And the guy is a really nice guy. How many times have we seen that? People divorcing, and the guy was really nice. But they didn't want to. She wanted to go through the marriage as opposed to grow through the marriage, and that can't be. But you have to know how to grow. You have to have a model of how to get there and what the goal is. Okay, so we have this, and we can see now how unity and shleimus can come about, and how it's unique to Am Yisrael. Okay, everybody's going to say one thing they heard today that stands out in your mind. Chana, can I ask you to say one thing? I can't hear you. Mechana, you didn't unmute. And you're
Sorry,
still up.
okay. Okay, yeah, okay,
Okay.
sorry. Okay. So you said that my husband is the source of my fulfillment in life. And with a partnership with Hashem.
Pink.
Right. Yes, in a partnership with Hashem. Thank you. Ita,
Yeah, hi.
hi.
Yeah, so when things go a little bit awry in a relationship, and there's a chaser, it is an opportunity to look at one's own one's own work to do for the chaser, and an opportunity to not judge the other person. And that's a very difficult thing because after the last talk with you, there was a nice challenge. It always comes after, you get the chizuk, right? There was such a challenge that someone, I have a cold and someone asked me to do something, and I did other things, and I really didn't consider that an important thing. It was really literally so irrelevant, such a tiny thing. And the person made a huge deal about it after a whole day. And, we did something like, we both had, full days. So instead of what, I thought the person was prepared to point out good things before asking for that favor. He called it a favor. And I said, well, no, actually that is a criticism. If we sit down and you want to say something, a criticism, he says, no, I'm just asking you for a favor. I said, no, that's not a favor. That's you asked me to do it and I didn't do it. So now it's a criticism. So that's what came up yesterday.
So let me just
Last night.
remind you,
Yeah.
Ita, when somebody says it's a favor, it's not a crit, and they see it as a favor and you're seeing it as criticism because it wasn't done. It's very helpful. This is how we stay together and how we grow, to say, I agree, you're right, that is one way of looking at things.
Okay. I gotta hear that. That's one way of looking at things. Okay, but that comment, even if I'd say it in the most powerful way, would be, I mean, I guess I have to practice that. That is one way of looking at things.
We all do. But
but this person has a tendency to hear everything I say as sarcastic, even though I totally do not mean things as sarcastic, and he just hears things as sarcastic.
Okay, so you'll daven to Hashem. You'll say it from a place of self-growth, right? And you'll daven to Hashem that the other person will receive it in the right spirit. And if they don't yet, don't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Right.
Someone suggested I should give up the other day. I said, what are you talking about? What's the point? That's what life is about. Don't give up.
This is it. It's a test, and it's from Hashem, and it's my test, and it's a partnership. That is the key. Bring
Hashem.
the
Partnership with Hashem.
Partnership with Hashem, and this person is a partner with Hashem to remind us that there's always another way of looking at things.
Right.
Yes,
that is right. Thank you.
Goes together with this, that you choose partnership first before working on letting it go. That, like the Rebbetzin has shared, that you can always ask first. Tell him what you need, what would help you, before letting it go and trying to work around it and make yourself into a pretzel or whatever. First, you should tell them what you need.
Right, and tell it in a way they can hear it.
Yeah, and kind and gentle.
Kind and gentle.
So attempt to do the partnership thing, and then if that doesn't, then you're davening to Hashem and saying, if this needs to be heard, have it be heard.
It's the reverse. You start with davening to Hashem.
You start with davening with Hashem, right?
You always start with davening with Hashem, okay? Because this, you need to tell something. even in a partnership, absolutely, because it's called Zivug Eloki. The first
Mhm.
step is Hashem. If you have to ask somebody, our spouse, something that's maybe difficult to ask, or and
It's going supernatural. You
right?
gotta ask.
First to Hashem, but yeah. So it's first to Hashem. You remember the spa? Stop, pray, ask Hashem, and then
Stop, pray,
go
ask.
Hashem,
Stop, pray,
and then
ask
go
Hashem.
into. Yeah, take a spa break.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
we'll take a
Very
stop,
good.
pray, ask.
And ask. Yes.
Stop,
That's
pray, ask. Mhm.
spa. Okay, Leah Shirel, one thing you heard today, it stands out.
Thank you.
Come on. I can't hear you.
Oh, that's.
Leah Shirel, I can't hear you. Maybe you can't speak. She's might be outdoors. Okay, can you speak? Can you nod this way? Can you speak? Yeah, I'm not hearing you. I know. All right. Flora, one thing you heard today.
Racheli, thank you so much, Robertson. It was beautiful. I love that we fill the chaser with emunah. We fill the
Yes,
chaser with emunah.
that's it.
But I
And
also
then-
love ouch. I love the
Ouch.
ouch.
Right.
When we point out what's missing in each other. Brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. So be
Thank
careful
you.
with that, because that it doesn't have. It can be. You can point things out, but it doesn't have to be in an ouch way. That's what we're working against. We're in need Hashem's help, not to make the chaser in the other a point of ouch.
Thank you. I have to go. My mum's doctor appointment.
Yes.
So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Leah Shirel, can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you. The couple of something made in Shemaim is a Zivug Eloki. Absolutely. The people in our life are on a less intense level, but the intensity of a relationship with our husbands it's a divine creation, a Zivug Eloki. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
See
you.
next.
Thank you so much. Beautiful share.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Colton. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Amen. Let's get the recording off. Record. Stop recording. Okay.